Hello everyone, this is Pash. In the previous video I talked about home inspection, home contingency, and why you should consider having a home inspection on your offer. Today I just wanted to give you another video just about 12 tips to get the most out of that home inspection. So after you're done with that home inspection and you follow these tips, you're a lot more confident and you're willing to go more further into that transaction. So just stay tuned and we'll get right to it. My first tip is to show up. You have to show up to your home inspection. Buying a home is going to be the biggest purchase that most will make in their lifetime. So you want to make sure that the property that you're going into, you feel confident with the home inspection based off the results of that home inspection. And the only way to really know how the home inspection goes is to show up to the home inspection. You want to be there with the home inspector so you can check out everything that needs to be checked out. So when things is finally done with the home inspection, and you're ready to move forward, you're a lot more confident because you showed up to the home inspection. Tip number 2, you want to pick a home inspector you can trust. There are many home inspectors out there. A lot of them do a great job, but you want to pick someone that you can definitely trust so you know when you're going into that home inspection, they're going to do the due diligence to get the things done and do it the right way. So the one option is you could ask your real estate agent. The real estate agents have been buying properties for their clients for a lot of years. So if you pick an experienced real estate agent, they should have a home inspector list that they can provide for you. But one thing I want to make sure you never do, never ask the seller for advice on home inspections and who to pick one, because that's a conflict of interest. They're trying to sell their property, so they're just going to pick a home inspector that can better assist them to make sure that their property sells and makes you believe that there's no issues with that property. You want to pick someone that's on your side. And the best way to do that is to either do your own research or you can talk to the real estate agent. But there's also another option with homeinspector.org that can help you find another home inspector that you can research a little bit more about the ones that's available on that website to just help you get a better understanding of the home inspector. So just make sure you pick a home inspector that you can trust. Tip number 3, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I said before, buying a property is going to be the biggest purchase that most will make in their lifetimes. The reason why you hire a home inspector is because of the skills that they have from all the experience that they had inspecting homes. You're hiring them for their knowledge because what they know it can either determine whether you will buy the property or not buy the property. So you want to make sure any questions that's on your mind, you talk to the home inspector and you ask them whether or not this is good or this is bad. That way you'll have all the knowledge that you need. So when you're going in that buying journey and that process, onto the next step, you will be a lot more confident because you asked the home inspector all these questions. So you know so much more about the property that you're more confident to go forward now. Tip number 4, get pictures for proof. When you're going to the property and there's some places that you don't feel comfortable with, such as the roof, the attic, the places that you can't really reach, you want to make sure that the home inspector can take those pictures for you. That way you'll have information on what they look like. So when you're going in that process, you're a lot more confident going forward because you've seen all the photos. You want to make sure you take as many photos as you can of all the places that you have to crawl into, or the places that you just can't reach or you don't want to reach. You want to make sure that you have photos of them so you know exactly what they look like. So you'll be able to know exactly what the entire property looks like. All the places, from the narrowest places, the places that you can't reach, to the open area places. You have a whole knowledge now. And then that will be very helpful because when the inspector makes a report, they'll be able to show you the photos in the report, and they'll be able to help you a lot more when you're figuring out to negotiate whether you want to continue going forward with the property or you don't want to continue going forward. But the good thing is, because you asked the home inspector to take those photos, you'll have a lot more knowledge of what each area looks like in the property. Tip number 5, do your own pre-inspection. You can learn a lot about a home when you do your own pre-inspection. You can learn a lot from checking the walls and ceiling to make sure there isn't any sign of damage from the drains, any type of liquid water damage. You'll be able to learn a lot from that. You'll be able to learn a lot from the outlets by checking the outlets to make sure everything is right. By checking the electrical panels, you'll be able to learn a lot more by doing that. You'll be able to see if there's any old wiring or new wiring. You'll be able to get a little glimpse of each different thing. If you want to look outside, you'll be able to tell from outside, from the siding of the property to the decks, if there's any water damage with that. You'll be able to learn a lot more by actually doing your own pre-inspection. So you're looking at things yourself and you're just checking it out beforehand. Like, for example, you could do that at the open house. You could check a little bit, see what things look like. Any type of way you can see it, whether it be like you go in the basement, you check out the basements, you check out the water tanks, just doing your own pre-inspection beforehand or even during the home inspection. Just the way you prepare yourself as much as possible so you feel a lot more confident going forward. Tip number 6, pay attention to the roof. A home's roof plays a huge role in whether or not the interior is in good condition or not. It's also very expensive and labor intensive to replace a roof. So you want to make sure you know exactly how old the roof is. You want to ask if there's any warranties on the shingles. You just want to make sure that you know exactly how old the roof is, because being in Massachusetts, there's a lot of rain, a lot of snow, often changing of elements. You just want to make sure that the property that you have, the roof is able to withstand all the changing elements in this state. So just want to make sure that you're prepared for that. Tip number 7, pay attention to any cosmetic fixes. Freshly painted walls, new floors are signs that the homeowner cares about the property, but they can also be used to conceal any problems. So you just want to make sure you pay attention to any underlying problems behind the cosmetics fixes. Tip number 8, you want to test the GFCIs. You want to make sure that they're all right, because GFCIs are part of the building codes and they're in the rooms where there are potential places for moisture. For example, kitchens, bathrooms, laundry rooms. You just want to make sure that the home inspector tests those outlets, the GFCIs, just to make sure things are accurate and there is no potential moisture issues that could arise within the property. Tip number 9, you want to look into the attic. You may not want to look into the attic, but you can always ask the home inspector to look into the attic. But you just want to make sure somebody looks into that attic, because attic plays a big role into how the property is. You want to make sure that there is no wrong moisture in the attic. You want to make sure that the attic is up to date. You just want to look into that attic. You want to look into the bathrooms for ventilation, which is very important, because if there's no ventilation that goes outside and it just goes into the attic, that could potentially be a problem, because the moisture is going into the attic, which can create mold and even worse. So you just want to make sure that you look into that attic, have the inspector look into it, make sure they take pictures, but just make sure you look into that attic, just so you know exactly what the attic looks like and where the bathroom ventilation is going from. You just want to look into the attic so there's no mold or any potential issues. So just make sure you pay attention to those things. Tip number 10, give plumbing a try. Losing water pressure or slow drainage can indicate larger issues when it comes to plumbing. You want to make sure you check the bathroom tubs, also the showers, just to make sure there's no potential leaks. You want to ask the home inspector to check the shut-off main points, just to make sure everything's corrected. You just want to pay attention to the plumbing. Just when you're going with the home inspector, you're paying close attention to him, and you're with him, and you're making sure that he inspects all the plumbing, the pipes, just to make sure everything's corrected. Tip number 11, check the furnace and water heaters. Beyond just checking the furnace and water heaters to make sure that they work properly, you want to make sure you understand how old the water heaters are. It can be very pricey replacing a water heater, and it can also be very time consuming. So you got to consider that when you're making your offers, and by knowing exactly how old the water heaters are, you could be able to negotiate some terms in that offer to see if they could replace the water heaters, or just to have you have a better understanding going forward, so you know when you buy that property, you know exactly how old the water heaters are. So it's just things to consider. Another thing you could do is check the furnace filters, and that will help you understand a little bit more exactly how old the furnace is by checking that furnace filter. So it's just things that you want to look out for just to prepare yourself. The final tip, tip number 12, don't forget the basement. I'll say it again, don't forget the basement. The reason why you don't want to forget the basement is because you want to know exactly the condition of the basement. An unfinished basement could give you a lot of clues on the foundation and condition of the home. So you want to make sure that you go into that basement. You want to look for things as cracks, water, any type of water damage, any type of repairs. Again, cracks don't mean that there's an indefinite issue, but you just want to know why there's certain cracks. You want to know why things are what they are in that basement. And that's why you have the home inspector, because you can ask them these questions and you can have a better understanding of what's going on within that basement. So don't forget that basement will be the final tip that I give to you. Thank you for listening. Hope this video was able to assist you in any way possible. Hope with these 12 tips, you're a lot more confident in going into that home inspection. Remember, the first step is to always show up. You want to make sure you show up to the home inspection. Remember, you're hiring the home inspector and they're there to help provide knowledge to you. So you want to make sure that you ask the questions. You just want to make sure that you have all the knowledge you have available. So when you're making that offer and you're going through that process of that transaction, you're a lot more confident to go further. You just want to make sure you protect yourself, because remember, buying a home is the biggest purchase most will make in their lifetime. So you just want to make sure you do everything right. And that's the end of this video. Stay tuned to the next video. Peace.